Great, so in the previous video I talked about how much power Naruto has lost. In this video we are going to be talking about how much power Sasuke has lost. In fact, based on what I've thought about, Sasuke can actually sort of recover from his losses a bit more than Naruto can. There's nothing that can replace a tail beast unless all the tail beasts combine their power and basically put, their chakra back into Naruto in order for him to actually have some kind of tail beast chakra inside of him, thus making him another Jinchuriki. But Kurama is not coming back. Alright, cool. So let's talk about Sasuke. Sasuke basically lost his Rinnegan. That is what made Sasuke kind of like, a second tier god. First tier god or beginner level god is what I, class Madara with the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan and Hashirama. Those are like first tier gods. Second tier gods is like Naruto and Sasuke, and then third tier god would literally be like, the Otsuzukis or Ishiki Otsutsuki. That is what I would class as a third tier god. Because Sasuke lost the Rinnegan, he loses access to all the god tier abilities that he's able to use. Usually, he can't open dimensions anymore, so dimensional travel is a no-go for him. And literally, when you unlock the Rinnegan, you get all the, power of the paths. He can't use that anymore. He can't absorb chakra, he can't, use Shinra Tensei, Bancho Tain, like he can't use any of those. He's literally lost the power to use all the other elements as well because it does come with the Rinnegan. He can't use those powers anymore. It's literally gone. Not only did Sasuke lose the Rinnegan, this guy actually lost his left eye. And if you remember, his left eye was used for the Blaze release in order to control Amaterasu. So he can create Amaterasu with his right eye, but he can't, shape it and, turn it into whatever he wants with the Blaze release because that was his left eye. And now that is literally gone. Because Sasuke has lost his Rinnegan power, he can't do any more research on Otsuzukis. He can't travel dimensions to do that anymore. So literally they're fucked because all they can do is literally sit there and wait for the Otsuzukis to arrive and fuck them up. That's literally all they can do. Code now has a karma seal of Ishiki Otsutsuki and he can do dimensional travel and, collect power, do whatever he wants. He can get away with it because nobody can chase after him. I do remember though, in my chapter 55 spoiler video, a subscriber, or I think it was someone who left a comment, basically said that Sasuke could use Izanagi in order to revive his Rinnegan. I personally think there's a time period in which he can actually, activate Izanagi. Sasuke, whether there's a time period or not, Sasuke did not activate Izanagi, so he definitely was not willing to sacrifice his right eye in order to get his Rinnegan back. So yeah, that would also contradict the whole point of the aftermath of the arc. Naruto lost his power and Sasuke lost his power. It would make no sense for Sasuke to be able to keep his power while Naruto kept his. I think the whole point of the arc was to, dumb down the power that Naruto and Sasuke had because remember, they're powerhouses. As long as they exist, there's literally no point for Boruto to become stronger. So I think one of the main points or the main reason why they lost their powers is because Kishimoto is literally trying to dumb them down, right? So yeah, that right there is a hard pill to swallow, but they are no longer going to be as powerful as they used to be. And dimensional travel and, getting to know other alien life forces and all that, that's basically most likely is not even going to happen because Sasuke is not going to be able to travel around and have a look at what the Otsuzukis are doing. That's not going to happen anymore. Literally, all Sasuke has left is his right eye, which can only use Amaterasu and perfect Susanoo. In fact, if you look at the rules that have been established, you need both eyes in order to use Susanoo, and Sasuke only has one, so he technically shouldn't even be able to use Susanoo. But then again, there have been a few retcons where Madara used Susanoo with no eyes. Like literally, that's a flat out mistake. That you can't even call that a retcon. That's a flat out mistake, because even if Madara had one eye and he used Susanoo, then it would be a retcon kind of thing and it would make sense, but at the same time he still has an eye, so you can't kind of lie and say, well, he still has a Mangekyo and as long as you have a Mangekyo Sharingan you can use Susanoo. But no, the guy literally flat out had no eyes and he still used an ocular jutsu. That makes no sense. That was a retcon right there. So let's use what makes sense. You need both eyes in order to use Susanoo, and Sasuke literally has one. So yeah, in terms of the losses, Sasuke has lost his godly power, except from the Sage's chakra that has been given to him. but he can actually recover from that, because if you remember, his original eyes that were swapped out for Itachi's still exist somewhere in some kind of lab, because I remember Obito would keep a lot of, you know, Sharingan eyes in vials and stuff, and literally he must have done the same thing with Sasuke's original eyes. So what Sasuke can do is literally find that lab, go there and retrieve his original eye, but then he's gonna have a eternal Mangekyo in one eye and just a regular Mangekyo in the other one. In fact, what that's going to do is just blind Sasuke, because remember, he's blind in that eye, and it is the eternal Mangekyo that actually stops the blindness. So he's literally going to be blind in one eye and have Mangekyo and not be blind in the other one, which literally makes no sense at all. What he could possibly do is find one of those Sharingans that is being stored in that lab, try to find a way to unlock the Mangekyo Sharingan in there, and then have eternal Mangekyo Sharingan in that eye. Or he can just put another Sharingan eye in there, and that's basically it. But yeah, in general, he's just limited to one eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Like his Rinnegan eye, that shit is done. It's literally done. What he could also do is he could actually transplant one of the shins, because there are loads of like shins in Konoha. He could actually transplant one of their Mangekyo Sharingans into his eye, and then use that to gain eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, because obviously he can mix it with his Mangekyo Sharingan. Or he could actually give the Rinnegan to Orochimaru and get Orochimaru to find some kind of way to duplicate the Rinnegan. He can make a makeshift, you know, Rinnegan, just like he made Shin's bootleg Mangekyo Sharingan, and then Sasuke can use that. But then again, you can't trust Orochimaru with a Rinnegan, because once he gets that, let's be honest, he's gonna do some fucked up shit with that. He said he's changed, but nah, he's literally still like sacrificing people and taking over their bodies in order to maintain his youth. So the old Orochimaru, you know, the fucked up one is still in there, so you won't trust him with that. On hindsight, they actually have Amado there now, and Amado is probably one of the best scientists, you know, next to Orochimaru in that universe. So most likely Amado should probably be able to do something in order to save Sasuke's Rinnegan. Most likely, or possibly, if Amado is able to literally create human beings, or, you know, duplicate them using DNA and create Kashin Koji, then there is no reason why he should not be able to duplicate a Rinnegan. That is the only way, or those are the only methods which I know Sasuke can use in order to recover his power. But in terms of tail beasts, nah, I don't think Amado will be able to duplicate a tail beast power. Kurama is literally fully gone, and Naruto can't do anything about that. Even if all the tail beasts combine their chakra, it's still not going to be the same amount as Kurama gave Naruto when he was still alive. Another thing I read in my comment section is that people said that Sasuke can awaken the Rinnegan again in another eye. Let me be honest with you, if he could, he would have done it. He would have two Rinnegans in his eyes, alright? The right eye that has no Rinnegan, he would have awakened it there. In fact, here's another piece of evidence that proves that he can't do that. And here's this. Remember when Madara was revived fully and had only one Rinnegan in his eye, was chasing the other one? He literally nearly killed Sasuke. He literally nearly killed Sasuke. And when Sasuke was at his feet, if he could awaken the Rinnegan, all he would have done is literally take, you know, Sasuke's eyes out of his eye socket, put it into his eye that is missing another Rinnegan, and then used the Sage's chakra, which he, you know, managed to recreate using Hashirama's cells. He would have literally used that to create another Rinnegan. And he didn't do that. Instead, he went after his Rinnegan. So yeah, that right there is evidence that you can't just manifest Rinnegan out of nowhere. Like you need to have the Sage's chakra, and after you've manifested it, that's that. I don't think you'll be able to recreate it again, or, you know, manifest another Rinnegan again. But hopefully I'm wrong, and somehow they find a way to get back Sasuke's Rinnegan. But I doubt it, because Kishimoto would have not made such a move if, you know, he wanted them to still have godly powers. He wouldn't have nerfed both Naruto and Sasuke, if I'm being brutally honest with you. And like I said, Madara had Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan in his eye and used that in order to, you know, go into Obito's dimension and collect his Rinnegan. He could literally turn Obito's eye into another Rinnegan if he could, but he didn't because he can't. So yeah, I think that's basically it for Rinnegan Sasuke. He's lost his Rinnegan. That's basically it. This is what it basically means. Not only does Sasuke have one arm, he only has one eye too. So now he's double handicapped. He can't even, see properly anymore, and he can't even fight properly anymore. Now, what he could do is get a Hashirama cell arm, and then get that to replace one of his arms, so at least he's not handicapped, and he could possibly find a replacement or a substitute for his eye. I'm sure Orochimaru could create a synthetic Sharingan in order for him to use and replace his Rinnegan with, but Rinnegan itself, that shit is destroyed. And also, the last thing that they could have possibly done is this. Remember when Madara died, right? When his body, nothing but his body was left over. What they could have done is literally taken the Rinnegan from Madara's corpse, so nobody can, find his corpse, take the Rinnegan and start using it. And then they could actually have put it at some hidden location for Sasuke to go to and collect in case if they needed the Rinnegan. So maybe Sasuke can start using Madara's Rinnegan and start using Madara's abilities. Now that right there is quite interesting, because that will mean Sasuke gets new jutsu and his Rinnegan is basically replaced, and he already knows how to use it to travel to other dimensions. So he loses his Rinnegan jutsu, but he gains Madara's Rinnegan jutsu. And yeah, that by itself is, amazing. Don't get me wrong though, Sasuke is still powerful, but he's just not as powerful as he used to be. He still has the Sage's Chakra, though he has that. We don't exactly know what it's going to do for him. All I know is that it makes him stronger. We don't know to the extent that does for him. Just like we don't know the extent that the Sage of Six Paths, Sage mode is going to, make Naruto stronger. We have not seen it in action by itself. Every time he's used that power, it's in combination with his QB mode. So now we are able to see, or we will see, exactly what these powers by themselves are going to do for both of these characters. But yeah, that's a huge handicap right there. Maybe I missed something else. If I did, let me know in the comments. But in general, bruh, I think this is a good idea, because I hate people throwing nukes at each other. The whole story going from ninjas to throwing nukes at each other. Nah, that's not the way to go. And Kishimoto was kind of taking a step back from that. That whole, war arc and, the constant power creep, every single 10 chapters there'd be a new power up or, level up or something like that. It was not the one. It did not drive story, and I think Kishimoto noticed that, so he's trying to go backwards now. But yeah, it would be interesting to see how Naruto would fight, because now he doesn't have his tail beast anymore, so he has to actually use his ability. He doesn't have, he shouldn't rely on shadow clones as much, or he can't even. So I want to see what other jutsu that he's going to learn. But in general, Sasuke still has the upper hand of Naruto, because he could now put Naruto into a genjutsu, and there's nothing Naruto can do about that. He can still use Amaterasu, and Naruto doesn't even have the chakra cloak to even block Amaterasu. So yeah, out of the both of them, I can guarantee you that most likely Sasuke is the most powerful. But then again, that depends on what the Six Paths Sage mode does for Naruto. So we'll see in the future. With that being said, that's all I have to say. Bye.